can be held safely. NASA has announced that it's sending 2 new missions to Venus to examine the planet's atmosphere and geological features. The missions are scheduled to launch at the end of the decade. Now, although flybys have been made since, NASA's last Venus orbiter was Magellan, which reached the planet all the way back in 1990. So why this announcement now? Well, joining me from Sunnyvale in California's Bay Area is Kailash Kalidos, NASA's Solar System Ambassador. What a wonderful title to have, Kailash. Good to have you with us. What do you think that the missions could discover from Venus?
So there is a huge possibility that there is some kind of life form that is possible right now in Venus. So that's one of the reasons we are actually taking a step back and looking at Venus again. So we have not been to Venus in the past 30 years. At least NASA has not tried missions in the past 30 years. And the majority of missions tried even before that where majority of them were failures. So part of the reason is because of the hostile conditions and the acidic environment. Although there is a belief that that Venus is like an evil twin to the Earth. So once upon a time, conditions in Venus were very conducive to life. So we wanted to go ahead and check that aspect of it and how much has changed since and why it has changed since. So NASA has come up with 2 brand new missions. The first one is Da Vinci Plus, which is going to analyze the gases basically in the Venus's atmosphere. So we're going to determine determine the evolution basically when the life forms were evolving and what is the current status. Okay. And we're going to determine whether Venus ever had an ocean.
Okay. I mean, I suppose the question is, what benefit will that give us? I mean, how will we benefit from it? I mean, I suppose the difference being with Mars, people will think about whether it's habitable. Venus, there's no way we're going to be able to live on Venus, is there?
Yeah, correct. But the knowledge we gain out of Venus can be translated into other research. We are also doing, we at NASA are also doing a lot of exoplanet research, and then we will know like what kind of life forms can be expected. So if we study our neighbor, that gives a better chance to actually study for other objects like exoplanets in the future. So that's one of the driving motivations, I would say. Of course, Mars is a better prospect right now.
Of course, and I suppose it's interesting, isn't it, how Venus is often overlooked, despite the fact that it is closer to Earth, is it not, than Mars?
Correct. So one of the reasons Venus was very exciting, at least for the Russian space administration, was because Earth and Venus had a lot of similarities in size. Also, the atmosphere was conducive, as I already told you once before. So they were really persistent on seeing whether we could change something on Venus. So they landed their lander Venera 7 back in 1970, and then they analyzed the surface data for 23 minutes. So that is something like there's a close connection to Venus and Earth, just that the conditions now are not at all like conducive for life. It's highly acidic, as I said, and it's hostile.
Okay. Kailash, fascinating stuff. We must leave it there, though. Thank you very much. Kailash Kalidos, the Solar System Ambassador from NASA there.